The Missouri Students Association election debate took place at Memorial Union on Monday, March 16th.
Each slate will get 2 minutes to answer the
Moderators from Mizzou Student Media questioned the Caring for Our Claws slate, made up of juniors Noah Schnarr and Jace Dakota, and the Pirrung-Lewis slate, made up of junior Braeden Pirrung and sophomore Elise Lewis.
A big thing in terms of listening to the student body and bringing it to admin's attention is understanding that not every single one of the issues that students care about we're normally going to be affected by. Such as Jason and I both have not bought the Zoo Pass this year, but care a lot about that pass because students deserve to get the money they paid for.
But all issues should be things that students do care about, whether that is flexibility with the Zoo Pass. We've heard a lot about that. We want to make sure that admin is working with us. We want to try and make that relationship a stronger, more reliable one. I want to start by acknowledging that when we announced the slate name Revive the Roar, it caused frustration and hurt to students on this campus. And for that, we are genuinely sorry for it. Elise and I did not mean to diminish, plagiarize, or take away from the slate that used it before. While we wish we could turn back the clock, we know that's not how life works. But we have learned something from this one. It's that when students tell us that something missed the mark, it's our job, it's our responsibility as student leaders to listen and adjust.
You mentioned obviously feeling apologetic, and I understand the feeling there, but in your original statement, I failed to see any apology. And many students within your comment section and around campus have also brought those concerns to me personally. And you also mentioned taking accountability, and that is very important, yet you, as the mandator had recently reported, were seen as lying about not knowing that it had been used before. If we have a president who's not able to admit that they knew something before, I don't know if I could trust my exec.
Unmanned vending machines. We don't have to worry about late night employees if it's unmanned, and you can just tap your student ID and use your dining dollars on them. Plus, food locations that have employees already cost a lot, and then trying to get it in convenient locations for students, especially during like winter, when I'm not trying to walk all the way across campus to get a meal. The vending machines are much cheaper and they're much more convenient because you can just put them wherever you want. Put them in all the neighborhoods. You can put them at the student center, and it would help so much more than a couple locations that are manned.
I think both Noah and Jace really hit the nail on the head with this one. The impact is that students aren't being able to get the food that they need during the evening times. A way that we would want to confront it differently, just because of the shortage of workers here on campus, and not to try and make those students are ones that are running those food facilities here on campus. We want to also respect that 24/7 dining might be an issue for them. We want to try and make the Southwest Mizzou market a 24/7 access. That way, it's not reliant on a kitchen being running. It's not reliant on the student center being opening.
A big thing is a lot of students have mentioned that they do not feel safe downtown, seeing 5 different cop cars going up and down Broadway, that they feel that that is not a great usage of Columbia funds, that we could be funding better things. In fact, I talked to the police chief recently briefly on Saturday morning, and one of the things they're even working on right now is to try and go meet with bar owners and discuss safer drinking habits, looking at cutting people off and bringing more initiatives to inform about drug use.
After journalistic investigation by the Maneater, they found a large problem with our kind of emergency alert systems that most of the time when they're serviced, this takes a while for parts to come in, services to be done, and students are not aware when these things are being serviced. So we go through improving things like the Mizzou Safe app, campus notifications, emails. Of course, we'll find whatever way is best to communicate this to students, let them know when these things are being serviced. We would hate for a student to be in a position where they're needing to alert someone of a problem and they're not able to do so.
Obviously, the First Amendment right of student works, especially cultural arts, is a big point we care a lot about. We want to work with RSOs and RSO's office to make sure that there's protection for those orders and and work and stand up to Montjoy and be like, hey, you know, this is not okay. Historically, universities have been a place of freedom of speech, and we want to keep that. Historically, universities have been there as a major way for a lot of minority students to have their voice and be able to make change in their area, and we need to keep it that way. Villainizing adjectives just because Jefferson City has said there's something wrong with them is not okay. We need to make sure to stand up to Montjoy and admin and stand for the students and say that we care about these cultural orgs and that they are very important parts of our campus and they deserve to call themselves what they want to call themselves.
Students matter at this university, and whether or not that some students disagree or agree with certain sides, at the end of the day, there should not be an exclusion of the parade. There should not be, you need to take this out of your name. That shouldn't happen. That is censorship. And for me, it may not be me picking up the torch for each of those organizations. My job in presidency is to bring them to the table. But I want to make sure that both sides are at the table, and MSA can be there too. Whether that is talking through it together, being there to talk with administration to show that, no, the students are unified on this. We want action. We want you to be able to fix this. This is not right.
It's extremely important that every student here on this campus is cared for. We care a lot about the impact that our administration will have. We will work for the student body, continue to listen, continue to work with orgs, all the major orgs across campus, and continue to ask for help throughout this entire process.
If you want to see your community improve, vote Shinar Dakota.
I could say as the only female on this ticket running this year, and also being new to MSA in this community, I hope that I can be a representation for others of getting involved. Even if they're not a political science major or know much about the organization, you have a spot in MSA and you have a spot on this campus to share your voice and for the people around you. And at the end of the day, Braeden and I are here to simplify, support, and strengthen Mizzou's community.
And while our policies are similar in some aspects, I think that shows the great thing about everybody, all four of us up here, is that we are students. We want to be for students. Some policies might be different in different realms, have different go-ats, but we are here for you. We're students for students, fighting for students.
I am glad that the turnout was pretty good. I would like to see more students next year because one of the things that we really do want is more student engagement. More students really seeing what MSA, the Missouri Student Association, really does for this campus. We had some tough questions, but we answered them truthfully and honestly. And we want to be able to rebuild that relationship that was lost. We reached out to both the president and vice president of the 2024 slate and genuinely just apologized. We messaged them. We didn't hear back, but we don't need to. We know that there was hurt and it wasn't intentional. One of our big campaign goals was to kind of reignite something that MSA had lost originally. Something that MSA used to do was meet with all the other student councils across campus to talk about issues, talk about problems in their own colleges and how MSA could help. Where I want to restart that and bring in something different is I also want to do that with LBC, AAA, ALAS, any other minority organizations on campus. If we are elected this Friday, the inauguration is April 1st. April 2nd, I want to send emails to all of those leaders talking about how we want to bring them to the table. We want to have conversations. We want to mend that relationship. We are here for all students, fighting for all students. We want our entire community, and I mean every single student at Mizzou, to feel as if they are welcomed.
Obviously talk about the vending machines thing. That's a lot easier, but then in general, not just stopping there, because obviously, as the vice president, you don't just want to get something done, stop there, you want to push forward. It's just that is one action to start, and then going from there, figuring out based on those communications how we could advance things and look at like more options in terms of maybe changing up some of the time slots of certain areas. And also looking at the meal plan itself. We've not discussed it much in our committee because that is a huge beast to tackle. But in the future, definitely looking into that.
If there's an organization that disagrees with us, I feel like it's not so much as each individual organization should get to decide what happens. It's more of like a popular vote. It just so happens that the things we think are good are things that YDSA thinks are good. And there's probably a lot of different organizations that think are good. If there's one organization that doesn't like those policies, we can't really accommodate to one organization when everyone likes it.
If someone has an issue with us changing the student pass, like listening at least and seeing, but then also going to the student body and okay, how do you feel about this? Because we do want to represent all students, every single student, of course, and just giving people the ability to be heard, and actually listen to, but also having communication with other areas and really seeing and giving students the space, especially in our own cabinet, to discuss. I mean, that's what politics is. It should be a safe place for us to have our disagreements and agreements and figure out what is best for the student body.
I kind of came as a voter who's undecided. I don't really know a lot about the slates except for what I've seen on their public Instagrams. And I kind of left still feeling like I didn't really know either slate and what they were going to be doing while in executive office. I know there's a lot of big ideas on both sides of what to do for the student experience, but my concern is that, a lot of what we want to do is not what we can do. And I don't think there was a lot of answer about how they're actually going to be able to get things done.
First, on our first main point of
when you are the MSA president, you are a student. Your job is to represent the students. Even if it's like a union organization, you have to negotiate with the administration, but it's not necessarily taking you're not a third party. You are a representative of the students. The biggest role that we know that the MSA president will always have is their voice, is their ability to come out and publicly advocate for things and to fight for things.
It is very important that we have students on.
I'm happy to see that it's a contested election this year. I'm hoping that this year we're able to get students energized about student government again and have a student body president that doesn't just serve as the MSA president, but actually takes effort to represent every single undergraduate student's voices on this campus.
Voting will remain open through Thursday, and the election results will be announced on Friday in the Shack.